Hello there, I'm Jan, and I welcome you to a world where stories create dreams to a peaceful sleep. As you settle into a cozy armchair, the warmth of a crackling fire nearby, prepare to enter a tale where love and kindness have the power to break even the most powerful of spells. In this world, beauty is found in the most unexpected places, and true love transforms everything it touches. Let this story of Beauty and the Beast carry you into a realm of enchantment and wonder. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a grand castle hidden deep within a forest. In this castle lived a young prince who was handsome but selfish and cared only for wealth and beauty. One bitter winter's night, an old beggar woman arrived at the castle seeking shelter from the cold. In return, she offered the prince a single rose. Disgusted by her appearance, the prince mocked her and turned her away. But the old woman warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. When he rejected her again, the beggar woman revealed herself to be a beautiful enchantress. The prince begged for forgiveness, but it was too late. The enchantress placed a curse on the castle and all who lived there, turning the prince into a hideous beast. The curse could only be broken if the prince learned to love and be loved in return before the last petal of the enchanted rose fell. If he failed, he would remain a beast forever. Years passed, and the castle fell into despair, hidden away from the world. The beast, filled with anger and sorrow, lost all hope of ever breaking the curse. But far from the castle, in a small village, lived a young woman named Belly. Belly was beautiful, with a heart as kind as it was courageous. She lived with her father, Morris, an inventor, in a quiet little village. Belly was unlike the other villagers. She loved to read books and dreamed of adventures beyond her small provincial life. Every morning, she would visit the local bookshop and borrow a new story to lose herself in. The villagers admired Belly's beauty, but found her odd because of her love for books and her refusal to conform to their expectations. She was constantly pursued by Gaston, a handsome but arrogant hunter who was determined to marry her. Though every other girl in the village swooned over Gaston, Belle found him rude and conceited. She had no interest in marrying someone who didn't appreciate her for who she truly was. One day, Morris set off for a fair to present his latest invention. But he got lost in the forest. The weather grew harsh, and as the night fell, he stumbled upon the beast's castle. Seeking shelter, he entered the castle, only to be met with the beast's terrifying roar. The beast locked Morris in the dungeon for trespassing, unaware that this act would soon change his life forever. When Morris's horse returned home without him, Belle knew something was wrong. She set out to find her father, and the horse led her to the ominous castle. With determination and fear in her heart, Belle entered the castle and found her father imprisoned. Desperate to save him, Belle pleaded with the beast to release Morris. The beast agreed, but only if Belle would take her father's place. Without hesitation, Belle offered herself in exchange, and the beast released Morris. Though Morris protested, Belle insisted, knowing it was the only way to save him. The beast escorted Belle to her room, a beautiful chamber that contrasted starkly with the dark and cold exterior of the castle. Despite his rough appearance, Belle sensed a deep sadness in the beast, and though she was frightened, she remained strong. The enchanted objects, the candelabra, Cogsworth, the clock, Mrs. Potts, the teapot, and her son Chip, the teacup, welcomed Belle with warmth and kindness, hoping that she might be the one to break the curse. Days turned into weeks, and Belle and the beast began to know each other. At first, their relationship was strained, with the beast's temper and Belle's longing for freedom causing tension. However, Belle's kindness began to soften the beast's heart. He showed her his magnificent library, a vast room filled with books, from floor to ceiling. Belle was overjoyed, and this gesture marked the beginning of their friendship. The enchanted objects noticed the change in the beast and hoped that Belle might be the one to break the curse. They arranged a romantic dinner and dance for Belle and the beast, hoping to bring them closer. As they danced in the grand ballroom, Belle began to see past the beast's exterior and noticed the kindness and vulnerability he had hidden for so long. However, the beast, still haunted by the curse, doubted that Belly could ever truly love him. One evening, he showed Belly the enchanted mirror that allowed her to see anything she wished. When she looked into it, she saw her father lost and in danger in the forest. The beast, realizing that he truly loved Belly, set her free so she could save her father, even though it meant he might remain a beast forever. Belly found her father and brought him back to the village. But when the villagers saw Morris's frantic claims about a beast, they thought he was mad. Gaston, seizing the opportunity, convinced the villagers that the beast was a threat that needed to be eliminated. He roused the villagers into forming a mob to storm the castle and kill the beast. Belly, realizing Gaston's true nature, tried to stop him, but he locked her and Morris in their home. With the help of Chip, who had stowed away in Belly's bag, they managed to escape and raced back to the castle to warn the beast. The villagers, led by Gaston, stormed the castle. The enchanted objects fought bravely to defend their home. But Gaston made his way to the beast. The beast, heartbroken and having lost his will to fight after letting Belly go, didn't resist as Gaston attacked him. But just as Gaston was about to deliver the final blow, Belly arrived at the castle. Seeing Belly gave the beast the strength to fight back. He overpowered Gaston, but spared his life, showing mercy. However, Gaston, consumed by his hatred and pride, attacked the beast one last time. In the struggle, Gaston lost his balance and fell from the castle's tower to his death. The beast, gravely wounded, collapsed in the courtyard as Belly rushed to his side. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded with him not to die. She confessed her love for him, just as the last petal of the enchanted rose fell. Suddenly, a magical transformation began. The beast was lifted into the air and enveloped in a glowing light. As Belly watched in wonder, the beast's monstrous form changed, and he was transformed back into a handsome prince. The curse was broken, and the castle and all its inhabitants were restored to their former selves. The prince, now filled with love and humility, gazed at Belle with gratitude and affection. Belle recognized him by the kindness in his eyes, the same kindness she had come to love. They embraced, and the castle was filled with joy. The prince and Belle were married in a grand celebration, and the castle, once dark and gloomy, became a place of light and happiness. The prince and Belle ruled together, their love a beacon of hope and kindness. The tale of Beauty and the Beast spread far and wide, reminding everyone that true beauty lies within, and love can transform even the hardest of hearts. The Golden Bird from the Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales. Once upon a time, a king owned a splendid garden featuring a magical tree that bore golden apples. Each year, as these apples ripened, they were mysteriously stolen, one by one, night after night. Deeply troubled by the thefts, the king ordered the garden's caretaker to watch the tree closely. The gardener, reluctant yet obedient, assigned his eldest son the task. Despite his initial determination, the son fell asleep during his watch, and by morning another apple was missing. Frustrated, the gardener sent his second son to guard the tree. Like his brother, he too succumbed to sleep, and yet another apple vanished. Finally, the youngest son volunteered, insisting despite his father's concerns for his safety. He remained vigilant, and at midnight, he witnessed a stunning sight. A bird of pure gold approached the tree. As it plucked at the apples, the young man attempted to shoot it with an arrow. The bird was unharmed, but dropped a golden feather before flying away. The golden feather was presented to the king, who was astonished and declared that he wanted the entire bird. The eldest son then set out on a quest to find the golden bird. Not long into his journey, he encountered a fox sitting by a woodland path. The fox offered him crucial advice. To avoid the temptingly beautiful inn and instead stay at a modest one across the road. Dismissing the fox's advice as foolish, the eldest son chose the grander inn, where he indulged in festivities and forgot his quest entirely. As the eldest son failed to return, the second son embarked on the same quest, only to repeat his brother's mistakes. Finally, it was the youngest son's turn. He met the same fox who gave him the same advice. This time, the son heeded the fox's counsel, staying at the modest inn and maintaining his focus on his quest. The next morning, the fox guided the young man to a castle where the golden bird was kept. The fox detailed a plan. The bird was in a simple wooden cage next to a more ornate golden one. But he must not attempt to transfer the bird to the prettier cage. The young man followed the fox's instructions until the last moment, when he decided to place the bird into the golden cage, causing an uproar that led him to his capture. The king of the castle then sent him on a new quest. He was told to fetch a golden horse that could run as swift as the wind. The fox assisted once more, advising him to choose over a more glamorous golden one. Again, the young man faltered, opting for the golden saddle, which resulted in his capture. His next task was to rescue a beautiful princess. With the fox's guidance, he succeeded. Then again, he made yet another mistake by allowing the princess to bid farewell to her parents, which led to his capture once again. Despite these setbacks, the youngest son continued to rely on the fox's advice. Eventually, he was tasked with removing a massive hill blocking the king's view, a feat he could not accomplish alone. The fox miraculously cleared the hill overnight, proving his unwavering support. Tragically, the youngest son forgot the fox's final pieces of advice, which led to his betrayal by his brothers, who stole the princess, the golden bird, and the horse. Yet, the resourceful fox rescued him once more, and together they exposed the brothers' deceit. The young man married the princess, became king, and lived a prosperous life. Years later, While walking in the woods, he encountered the fox again. This time, the fox requested to be killed to break a curse. With a heavy heart, the king obliged, and the fox transformed back into a human. The long-lost brother of the princess, ending his enchantment. The Seven Ravens. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind-hearted couple who had many sons, but longed for a daughter. Their wish was finally granted when they welcomed a baby girl into their family. She was a blessing, delicate and lovely, but she was also quite frail, and her health was fragile. The parents loved their daughter deeply and wished nothing more than for her to grow strong and healthy. One day, as the baby girl lay in her cradle, her father realized she needed water from the well for a special blessing. He called for his 7 sons, who were very lively and playful boys, to fetch the water quickly. But as boys often do, they became distracted, arguing and playing near the well. Time slipped away, and when they finally realized how late they were, panic set in. They rushed to fill the jug, but in their haste, the jug fell into the well, and they were too afraid to return home empty-handed. Back at home, their father grew increasingly worried and frustrated as the boys had taken so long. In his anger, he feared the worst, and without thinking, he muttered a curse, wishing his sons to turn into ravens. Little did he know that his words had real power, and in that moment, his 7 sons transformed into black birds, flying away into the sky. The mother was devastated, and their house was filled with sorrow, though they never told the daughter what had happened. She grew up happy and healthy, not knowing that her brothers were no longer with them. But as the years passed, she began to hear whispers and learn the truth. When she discovered that her brothers had been turned into ravens because of her father's curse, she was determined to find them and bring them home. With courage in her heart, the young girl set out on a journey to rescue her brothers. She ventured into the unknown, walking through deep forests, over high mountains, and across vast deserts, always driven by the thought of saving them. Along the way, she encountered many challenges, but she never wavered. Her love for her brothers gave her strength. After many long days, she reached the end of the world, where the sun and moon shared the sky. There, she found a crystal mountain the home of the ravens. Knowing she must climb the mountain to reach them, she used a little silver ring her parents had given her as a charm of protection, and with that, she began her ascent. The path was treacherous, but her determination was unwavering. At the top of the mountain, she came upon an enchanted cottage. Inside, an old woman greeted her kindly, and the young girl told her story. The old woman, touched by the girl's bravery and love for her brothers, revealed that the curse could be broken if she crafted 7 shirts from the finest star silk and placed them over her brother's wings. The task was immense, but the girl worked tirelessly, sewing day and night. Finally, with all 7 shirts completed, she called out to the ravens, who flew down from the sky. As each raven landed, she placed a shirt over their wings, and before her eyes, they transformed back into her brothers. The family was reunited, and the girl's bravery and love had undone the curse. Together, they returned home, where their parents rejoiced, and the family was whole once more. From that day forward, they lived in peace, always remembering the power of love and forgiveness. Thank you for joining me on this magical journey tonight. I hope you found comfort in this tale of love, courage, and family as you drift off into a peaceful sleep. Remember that even in the darkest moments, light can always be found, and sometimes the strongest magic comes from within. Once upon a time, a man and his wife really wanted a child, but couldn't have one. Behind their house was a garden full of beautiful vegetables and flowers, but it had a high wall and belonged to a powerful witch everyone was afraid of. One day, the wife looked out the window and saw some tasty-looking rampion in the witch's garden. She wanted it so badly that she became very sad and sick. Her husband, who loved her a lot, decided to get some rampion for her no matter what. So he climbed over the wall, took some rampion, and brought it to her. She made a salad and ate it all up. But the next day, she wanted even more. So the husband climbed over the wall again to get more rampion. This time, the witch caught him. The witch was very angry and asked why he was stealing her rampion. The man explained that his wife really wanted it and would die without it. The witch said he could take all the rampion he wanted, but he had to give her their first child when it was born. The man was so scared and worried that he agreed. When their first child was born, it was a baby girl. The witch took her away and named her Rapunzel. She was very beautiful. When Rapunzel turned 12, the witch locked her in a tall tower in the middle of a forest. The tower had no stairs or doors, only a small window at the top. When the witch wanted to visit, she would stand below and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had long, golden hair, and she would let it down for the witch to climb up. Years passed, and one day a prince heard Rapunzel singing from the tower. He fell in love with her voice and wanted to meet her. He saw how the witch climbed the tower using Rapunzel's hair and decided to try it himself. He called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and climbed up. Rapunzel was scared at first because she had never seen a man before. But the prince spoke kindly to her and told her how he loved her singing. They quickly fell in love and planned to escape together. The prince visited every evening, bringing silk for Rapunzel to make a ladder. One day, Rapunzel accidentally told the witch about the prince. The witch was furious, cut off Rapunzel's hair, and sent her to a lonely desert. She tricked the prince by letting down the cut hair. When he climbed up, he found the angry witch instead of Rapunzel. In his despair, he jumped from the tower, blinded by the thorns below. For years, the prince wandered the forest, blind and sad, until one day he found Rapunzel in the desert with their twin children. Rapunzel cried with joy, and her tears healed the prince's eyes. They returned to the prince's kingdom and lived happily ever after. And so, dear listener, Rapunzel's long journey led her to a life filled with love, freedom, and endless happiness. Her story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope and bravery can light the way to a brighter future. As you drift off to sleep, Let Rapunzel's tale fill your dreams with courage and the promise of new beginnings. Sweet dreams, and until next time, this is Jan's Sleep Stories. Good night.